Welcome to Adam Home Cooking. Today we are preparing donuts, ring donuts from Adam Home Cooking. These are the ingredients for preparing ring donuts. I have my strong flour here, strong white flour. You can also use all-purpose flour. I have my butter, my warm milk, sugar, nutmeg, 1 egg, and my yeast, my dry yeast. And what I'm going to do now is salt. Of course, I'm going to put a pinch of salt in it. And this is the same butter. It's melted butter. This is the butter. You can use any type of butter. I'm going to use the melted one, so I melt some of the butter here. What I do now is spoonful of the strong flour, put in my sieve with a bit of the nutmeg and pinch of salt. Just a little bit of salt. And then I sieve the flour together with the nutmeg and salt into my mixing bowl. At this stage, I'm going to put some of the flour aside. So I save half of the flour aside. So I'm using 6 tablespoonfuls of the strong white flour, 1 sachet of the dry yeast. And I'm just going to open the yeast. I'm going to put the yeast in the middle of the flour. Add my sugar, depending on the sweetness you want. I'm adding 3 tablespoonfuls of sugar to 6 tablespoonfuls of the strong flour. You mix it well with your fingertips, and then I'll add my cracked egg. What I do is I always crack my egg into a separate bowl before adding to my cooking, so you can see if the egg is fresh or rotten. So I add my egg and my melted butter. Just add about 2 tablespoonfuls of the butter, and then I stir in the middle. Then you add your warm milk. Add it a bit at a time. Don't add all the milk at a time, a bit by bit, because you need a firm dough. I'm going to mix all this together now. At this stage, I'm going to use my fingers to wash my hand. So I'll add the remaining flour gradually, because I want a firm dough, not too hard, soft enough for you to knead. Now I've got my firm dough here. I'm going to transfer the dough onto my flour surface, onto my chopping board. That's my flour surface. And then I knead. You knead with the back of your palm. The kneading helps to distribute the yeast properly into the dough for the dough to rise. Don't add too much flour whilst kneading. Just a little bit of flour to prevent it from sticking too much on your hands and the chopping board. So you just knead this for about 2 to 3 minutes. And then I'm going to put this back into my mixing bowl and leave it for about 30 to 45 minutes for it to double in size or to rise. just mold it nicely, put it back into my mixing bowl and cover with a cling film. So I cover it. After molding it and putting it in your bowl, in your mixing bowl again, you can just cover the top bit with some of the melted butter to prevent the top from drying up. So I'll just cover it now and leave it in a warm place. Where there is a sunshine, or you can just keep it warm. If you are using a white cloth, you can just damp your white cloth with hot water so that you give it warm for the dough to rise. Now this is the dough now. It's risen, as you can see, double in size. So I'm going to take it, transfer it back into my chopping board, and then just fold it over to take the air out. And then we sprinkle a bit more of the flour on the surface. And then you're using your rolling pin, you flatten the dough to about, the thickness should be about 1.5 centimeters. I'm not really good at measuring, but just flatten it all up like this. And then using your cutter, you use one big cutter and one tiny one to make the hole in the middle. So I'm going to use my knife because the edge of my cutter is not straight, it's not sharp enough to cut through. So I just use knife. But if the edge is sharp enough, you can just press it on like that, and then it cuts out for you. This is what I do now. And then I put the tiny one, the smaller one, in the middle. If it's sharp enough, it will just cut through, but mine is not very sharp, so you get it like this, and then you take the middle bit off. And this is your ring donut. I put it back onto a flour plate or a tray, because you are going to leave it again for about 10 to 15 minutes before you start deep frying it. And here we are. Just press it. And leave it on again for about 10 to 15 minutes before you start deep frying it. So after cutting it up, you leave it for about another 10 to 15 minutes, and then you deep fry it on a medium heat. Don't overheat the oil. If not, it will look brown whilst the inside is not cooked properly. So you gently drop the ring donut in the oil and deep fry. Make sure you don't overload the oil. You can fry 2 at a time, or depending on how big your frying pan is. You fry it and turn it over. You see as it's popping up. Once you see the other side is brown, golden brown, then you turn the other side over to cook. So it's going to take about 5 to 7 minutes to cook. Now the other side is golden brown, is cooked. See, so I turn it over. If you get your cutter very sharp, it will look more nicer. So you turn it over for the other side to cook as well. Oh, our donut is smelling really good. You cook both sides till golden brown and your donut is ready. So here we are, our donut is ready. A done home cooking donut is ready. Enjoy. It can be served for snack, with tea, or you can just have it on its own. Enjoy.